Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is the Mach-E Vlog. We are at CES 2024 in Las Vegas, covering like all the cool EV tech and EV companies. One of those is ABB. We're going to sit down and have a conversation about what they do for EV charging. So let's go. Okay, so now we're here with ABB. I'll let you introduce yourself and your role at ABB.
Sure. So my name is Chris Nord. I'm the head of North America for ABB E-Mobility. Been here for 1.5 years, but fairly new to this particular role.
So a lot of EV nerds like myself, we know ABB, like we pull up to a charging station and I'm looking like, this is an ABB charger. And after a while, I get to recognize them before I even get out of the car. But for non-EV nerds, like where do people see ABB out in the real world?
Yeah, that's a great question. In Europe, I think our name is a lot more known than it is here in North America. But it's becoming bigger and bigger as more people get exposed to charging infrastructure, through the adoption of EVs. And ABB E-Mobility has been selling chargers for over 10 years, and to a lot of the major players out there that are synonymous with the charging infrastructure space from a consumer viewpoint, such as EVgo or Electrify America.
Right. So that's where I see it. It's like they're there, but doesn't have your like big giant logo. But if you guys are interested, a lot of times you can look on the side of the charger. You can find out who makes that charger. So what range of products do you have out there right now, and what are you guys announcing for CES 2024?
Yeah, so we have a wide range of products, starting all the way down from in-home AC chargers, all the way up through megawatt chargers that we've recently announced in partnership with some of the truck OEMs, both in Europe and North America.
So megawatt chargers, that's like next level. That's not necessarily for me, like charging my Mach-E, but this is like semi-trucks, delivery trucks and that type of thing, right?
Exactly. So at each different level, you need bigger cables, you need larger deliveries of power to these vehicles as they get a larger and larger battery packs. So MCS is really made for the semi-tractor or the really heavy truck market. Also, MCS could be used for things like the marine industry or aviation, right? So you start thinking about the future and you really start getting into these like much bigger power classes.
Yeah, I think I've seen some like ferries in Norway, but they actually had like CCS connectors on them. But now this will be like the next step is to put it into one connector that can handle a lot more capacity.
Yeah, exactly. So whereas in the past you maybe have needed 2 or even 3 CCS connectors, now you're going to be able to do the same kind of power transmission with a single connector.
So a lot of people are excited because there's been a lot of talk about the NACS connector, and they act like it's an actual big hurdle for all the charging companies. But let me guess, it's just swap out the plug and you guys are good to go.
I wish it was that simple. There is some more intricacies to it. Right now we're going through certification, UL certification for the cables themselves, making sure that they're safe for the user. We're ramping up production in various different supply bases. And so we're looking at Q2 for rolling out, starting the rollout of our NACS capabilities in our chargers natively. And then we're also going to be creating retrofit kits for our existing chargers that are in the field so that operators can, over time, transition the existing chargers from CCS to NACS as the demand starts to shift.
Right.
Which probably isn't going to start to happen until probably 2025 when the OEMs that have recently made the announcements about their NACS transitions are going to start actually offering their vehicles with the NACS connector on.
So for you guys, you're making sure certification, everything is up to specs, and that it will handle the demands that the customer wants, but the actual people deploying them, it may be at some point just swapping out that cable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And eventually that is exactly how simple it becomes. Mm-hmm. We're actually already deploying chargers that are NACS ready, and that means that it actually has an available outlet so that we can actually go in and just put the new NACS cable there, and now you have both choices.
And you talked about how long ABB is, bigger in Europe, bigger known in Europe, and how long you guys have been selling chargers. So I imagine along the way you guys have learned a lot of like what works and what doesn't work for these chargers. And as the industry has evolved, especially with EVs getting faster and faster as well with their charging.
Yeah, that's a great question. It really segments well into what I'm most excited about here at CES, which is what we're doing to elevate customer experience in the charging space. We've all heard about some of the poor experiences throughout the entire industry. And really, that's the new frontier within the charging space, is to elevate the customer experience, to create a seamless flow for everything from payment, connection, receipts. The entire experience needs to be very seamless, easy, and not cumbersome for the user. And so our next generation of chargers that are coming out this year are going to elevate the game completely, and that is super exciting. And I know that the consumers are going to really resonate with that specific message.
So is that talking about like just the initialization process and also reliability, or a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. The worst thing that can happen is when you pull up to a charger and it's actually non-functional, right? So number one, we've done a huge lean exercise within the charger in order to eliminate as many parts as possible. Elon Musk talks about first principles, which ultimately just eliminates as many parts as possible, because less parts equals less failures.
Right.
And so we've gone through our chargers and actually reduced cabling by 80%. So now we have that many less failure points.
Right.
And so reliability becomes the first thing that we're working on right now. And then the second thing in this new introduction is that user experience, a completely new screen with a user flow that is guided in order to create that seamless experience.
And I imagine like one of the challenges too is trying to make things consistent. So like whatever brand network I'm using, that like when I go in, it's like a consistent charging process. So it's like I don't have to like figure out, do I plug in first? Do I do this? Do I do that? Whatever, to make it like consistent for the user as well.
Consistent and simple and guided.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, because in the past, you may have had 10 different stickers on the charger saying, hey, do this as number one, do this as number two. Ultimately, you want to be guided through this process, and you want sensors to help you so that if you do something that is out of order, perhaps, the charger reacts and basically tells you, okay, well, since you did that, now you need to do this.
Yeah.
And so that guided aspect is what we're perfecting.
That makes a lot of sense, because like even as us, like I think we're fairly experienced in doing EV road trips. I'll go up to like a new charger and I'm like, do I plug in? Do I swipe first? Do I get an app? So I think that'll be much appreciated by people.
Yeah, and what we're seeing right now is also a ton of different options. You being an experienced EV user, how many apps do you have for all the different networks out there?
I got a little drawer and I think I'm up to like 9 different apps.
And we realize that options are something that's here to stay, right? So we are creating a scenario where you have different ways of charging and different ways of paying, different methods, whether it be an app from the operator or just swiping your credit card or a pre-charged app, right? So you want, as a user, your preferred methodology. And so we're incorporating that into our charge flow so that each one of those can be accommodated, but yet in a guided experience.
So if you prefer an app, it'll guide you in that direction and make it very easy.
Right.
Okay, cool. So of course, the other big thing that a lot of people are excited about is the NEVI funding and chargers being rolled out across the US with some support from the federal government. I'm assuming that ABB is like leading on that edge and ready to go with getting some chargers in the ground.
We are absolutely a big part of the NEVI awards, especially more recently. We've been creating a team and a culture of working together with our customers in order to gain more and more grant dollars. And so we have an entire organization that's dedicated to helping our customers gain grant dollars, and we've been very successful, especially most recently. And we're seeing a lot more awards coming out now in 2024.
Right.
And so we're going to see this really accelerate, and that's going to pick up the entire industry.
Yeah, I know we're excited. We're seeing just the first one starting to get deployed, and I think 2024 is going to be the year where it like really starts getting spread throughout the U.S. So I'm excited. The more charging options, the better. So ABB, like I know them, because it's like the charger that's in the ground, but it's like somebody else's interface on it and stuff like that. But it sounds like ABB is also going toward evolving, just being a hardware provider into a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So we call it moving up the stack. And ultimately, it's a evolution in thinking and how we solve problems. So ABB E-Mobility is really moving from being a hardware provider to being a solutions provider. And that really means that we are putting ourselves in the shoes of our customer. And we are a B2B company, right? We sell to other businesses. But ultimately, we need to think from a B to B to C perspective. And that means that our customer needs to have a user experience that is truly excellent in order for the consumer to have a great experience. And so we have to think about that right from the start. And that means that not only are we designing chargers with a completely new user interface and user experience, but we're putting ourselves into the mindset of our customer, which means site thinking. And that means that we are not only designing the charger, but we are also integrating with battery backup and solar. And we're manufacturing site controllers that actually controls the flow of energy coming from the battery, from the grid, from the solar, and optimizing that in a way that reduces the total cost of ownership for that site owner.
And that translates down to the consumer because they are going to get a better option for them for charging, because it's going to be better for the B2B customer that you have, and it's better for you. So it's sort of like win-win-win in the end.
That's a very good point. And so ultimately what we're doing is optimizing the cost structure for our customer, which means they're going to make more investments in new charging facilities, which then expand the network, and consumers are more able to adopt EVs.
You said it much better than I did. Anything else? I know we've been, just chatting and covering a lot of what ABB is doing. Anything else you want to share with us about 2024?
Well, I definitely want to come back and talk to you again very soon, because we do have some really exciting announcements that I can't talk about right now. But it is absolutely amazing what is going to be coming out in this year, in 2024, from ABB E-Mobility.
I'm really excited because I know it's going to be faster, better charging, and that's all we can ask for. So
faster, better, seamless. Yeah,
faster, better, seamless. I'll add that in there. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll look forward to talking again when you have those announcements ready to announce.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, that was fantastic. Thank you guys for watching that whole conversation. If you want to watch more of these, check our YouTube channel out. Check us out on LinkedIn as well. We're posting a lot of videos on there from CES 2024. We have some plans to hopefully visit ABB and some other charging companies to learn more about this in 2024. We want to thank all of our Patreon members. You guys are the ones that helped us get here to CES. We very much appreciate that. And if you want to join them, you can do that by looking at the link below. We have our Whispered, our Engaged, and our Unbridled patrons that we very much appreciate. And as Liv would say, she's holding the camera, but she would say, whatever you drive or whoever's holding the camera, better be her. Enjoy the ride.